Welcome to Permission to Shift, where we help you remove limits, transform fear, and get into a life you're excited to live. Today's guest is Marc Reclau. Marc had an interesting beginning to his career. He studied one he didn't like for 5 years, to later go on and work 11 years in one he didn't like. When he finally got fired, that's when he had his little aha moment and got around to writing a book he'd been thinking about writing for 15 years. The book, 30 Days, Change Your Habits, Change Your Life, turned out to be an award-winning international bestseller. And today, Marc has co-authored a total of 7 books that have been translated into more than 9 languages. Now he enjoys traveling the world, coaching others on the ideas he has helped develop and articulate, and writing his next masterpiece. If you're feeling stuck and having trouble shifting, it may very well be that Marc has the answer you're looking for. Welcome, Marc. I am so excited to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me, Anna. I'm happy to be here with you.
Okay, so first off, now I've had the opportunity to get to know you online and look at a lot of your stuff, but for some people who haven't heard your story or who haven't come across your work yet, could you give us just a 5-minute dive in on how you got where you are?
Yeah, it might even be quicker than 5 minutes because it wasn't also that extraordinary. So my life was normal childhood. I went to high school, went to the university, studied a career I didn't like to later work at a job I hated for 10 years. And I didn't even have the guts to leave the job. They had to fire me to get rid of me. So they did that. So after working there, I think nearly 11 years in a book printer in Spain, I was let go, but it was not a surprise because we were doing not well in the German market. I was the responsible for the sales manager for the German market, and it just wasn't going anymore. So they said, Marc, sorry. And I said, it's okay. And then I was jobless. I had done some life coaching training. So I said, okay, I will try. I will start life coaching practice. I will start to study. I'll write a book. Now was the time, right? I didn't have my best excuse anymore. I would like to write a book, but I don't have time because suddenly I had all the time of the world because I was jobless. So I took it like a job. I knew I have 2 years. It was back in 2013, September of 2013. I had 2 years. I got a little bit of jobless welfare in Spain. And I had savings tucked away also like for 2 years. So I could maintain my lifestyle for 2 years without too many worries, which was really good. And then just work. And I have the belief that if you do something for 2 years, like if you work every day in something you love for 2 years, you will see results. Most of the time we don't see results because we give up too early. So quitting was not an option. And then after half a year of being jobless, I said, okay, now is probably the best time to write a book because still I have the money coming in without having to go out. So it was just coming in every month. So what better time, right? No stress. So then I wrote the book, my first book, 30 Days. I published it, self-published it. Nothing happened for a long time. And then a half a year after having it published, we are already now in 2015. I got on a great promotion on Amazon and then suddenly it exploded. I got like 40,000 downloads in 3 days on Amazon. And although those were free, it took me all up in all the bestseller lists next to my big idols, Tim Ferriss and Jack Canfield and all these guys. And then it started rolling. I was earning money with my writing and it looked good. But as life is a roller coaster, and I also get a little bit self-complacent when I have success. So I lowered my guard, and then after 2 years, I was going down again. And there were also lots of changes on Amazon. And what I did, so again, I was at the point where I said, so or I turn it around, or I have to look for a job or whatever. And then, but I was obsessed with selling many books, and it's pretty difficult. But I said, okay, but I want to do it because the coaching didn't work so well. The conferences, it was sporadic. There was no constant cash flow, and I wanted a constant cash flow. So I was studying authors that were making a lot of money. And I found that they have three things in common only. So first of all, I found they don't make a lot of different from me, which was very good news. The only thing they did, they had like a lot of books. So by that time, in 2017, I had 4 or 5 books in total. And 4 or 5 books will not give you, most of the time, will not give you enough money to live from it. So when I studied those authors who have many books, the self-published authors, they have like 30 books. So they had a lot of books, and they did a lot of free promotions, and they invested a lot of money in ads. So I started also learning ads, and that was the point, when it took off totally. So I learned Amazon ads, and now I'm living from my books. I have 30 books now. So I just looked a couple of days ago. So in 2018, I wrote 3 books. And when I write a book, I always have it in English and in Spanish. So that was 6 new products. And now I have over 30 books in all the languages. And now I have what I always wanted, a steady income, no big fluctuation. So I know exactly, and Amazon pays at 60 days. So I know exactly for the next 2 months what's coming in. I'm already working today so that in 3 months a lot is coming in. And it's a fantastic, it is, how do you say, it gives you peace of mind.
And that's huge. A lot the people who are watching this are now, they're listening to you and they're saying, geez, okay, so I'm kind of in a desk job that I hate, and I'm getting up going, I should quit, but I'm not going to. And they're in that same complacency. And that's one of the things I loved about your 30 days habits that'll change your life, because you did something really different. Instead of outlining a very specific process, you gave just a boatload of, almost people can make a cocktail of different,
Exactly.
all of the skills. So let's start, because I love how you open the book, and it's the hardest one, I think. You
Rewrite your
own
story.
life.
Yeah.
Yes. So can you speak to that a little bit? Because that's hard.
Yeah, first of all, I want to tell you how I got the idea, because I really, I knew from my coaching training that there are so many exercises that when you really do them, they work. And when you study successful people, you will see they all do the same things, or they all have a lot of habits in common, like getting up early, like writing down their goals or something. So when I wrote the book, there was a big depression in Spain, because it was just the financial crisis was still dwindling there, and people, when I listened to people in the supermarket or something, it was always, oh, well, maybe I win the lottery and then everything will be all right. And I'm like, oh no, don't do the lottery. I mean, you just have to do the exercises that nobody does. And the fun thing is, the working title of 30 days was 101 things you can do while you're waiting to win the lottery. Because when you do the exercises, and now I'm the living example, because I'm doing the exercise, not all the time, but it's exactly how you said. You take a cocktail, you take the ones that go best for you, that come easiest for you, and you start from there. And that's what I have been doing in the last 7 years. And I have gone from being jobless and in a really money struggle to now be nearly financially independent, living on a beautiful island in the Mediterranean in a penthouse. It seems like it's made up, right? But it's not. You can do it. You can really do it. And it's not. 7 years ago, I had no idea that this will happen, but just by goal setting and taking one step at a time, things start falling in place. And that's something we always hear, and everybody tells us. And when it's still not going for us, it's so difficult to imagine. But I can really tell you, when you do it, the little things will start falling in places, and it's fantastic. And then it gives you also the motivation to keep on. And so, what we said, you are the responsible of your life. That was one of the number one things I had to learn. I thought already I was very spiritual, and I thought I had it all done, but when things didn't go well in my life, I always blamed others. And in my coaching training, I learned this responsibility thing, so, and this was a huge point for me, because when I was being jobless, I didn't expect anything from the government. I didn't expect anything from my spouse, not from the government, not from the mayor of my village, just from me. And this is extremely powerful when you accept it. And when you are jobless, or when you become an entrepreneur, you will probably see it gets pretty lonely. It gets pretty lonely. So in my case, many people turned away from me. They were, excuse my French, they were licking my ass while I was in a good position where they wanted to sell. But when I was not there anymore, suddenly they didn't want to know anything of me anymore, and then they were and then it was a good lesson to learn. And to just emphasize that, okay, I'm on my own. I have my friends. You need to look for these people that support you. For example, my marriage didn't survive it. It was just too much. And I understand my ex-wife. When your husband suddenly says, well, look, I'm going to write a book and I'll put it on Amazon and I'm going to get, so what do you think? Is he crazy now? Has he gone completely mad? Why doesn't he look for work? But I had this inside me. I knew it. That's another thing, this belief in yourself. Without it, you are lost. But on the other hand, you are the only one. Everybody can doubt you. Everybody can doubt you. If you believe, you will succeed sooner or later.
Oh, I love that. There's a couple of things to unpack in that too. I mean, you read it everywhere. Who you surround yourself with is who you become.
Absolutely, yeah.
But in order to shift into a new phase, a lot of people aren't willing to let go because that's scary.
It is totally scary. I'm glad that I did it automatically, because I was a guy, thank God I always learned a little bit from my mistakes, So I was a people pleaser. I wanted to be everybody's friend, and suddenly I noticed this doesn't work. You can't be everybody's friend. You have to be you. And then who wants to be around you? Thank you. And who doesn't? Bye. And like this, I have a very small circle. And on this journey of entrepreneurship or authorship, the circle got even smaller. And I also put people away. Because it's tough enough. It's what you say, believing in yourself is tough enough. You don't need people that tell you, hey, look for a job or whatever. I mean, sometimes they mean it only well for you, but they don't have to carry the consequences. So the best thing is and you have to be, sometimes it doesn't work out. And then you have to say, okay, now maybe I have to look for another job or whatever, but it should be you who decides, not the outside, and not your fear. What will other people think of me?
Let's talk about that fear. Let's go into fear as a player in what messes people really, really badly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a constant companion on my journeys, fear and doubt. I've accepted it, I don't know if you can overcome it. I think you can get used to it. I think you can start dealing with it. For me, fear is my consultant. Yeah, so when I get afraid, I'm always whenever you start something new, when you venture in the unknown, there's always fear and doubts. And the more often you overcome it, the more often you act in spite of fear, the better you get at it. And you also you get better in knowing, is it a fear, that warns me of danger? Like I'm going into the water and there might be sharks, then I better not go to the water, But in my swimming pool outside, there are no sharks, so I could jump in there. So many times fear is just, I think the best thing I ever heard is fear is a liar. Fear is a liar.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, and then you just overcome it over and over and over again. And it's really also, it's super cliche, but it's really behind the fears where the greatest things wait for you. It's like a kind of a reward, if you're not ready to face your fears and act in spite your fears, then you also don't reserve the wonderful reward that is there. And really, most of the time, fear is only an illusion, and it will be your steady companion, and you better get used to it and just don't let it paralyze you. You can see it as a yellow light, as like not a red light, but yellow, like, okay, I will think about it, what's going on, but what's the worst thing that can happen to me? And the more you go, the better you get. So for me, normally, now when I get afraid of something, I'm like, I'm getting fear. There must be something really good around the corner, because and then you act in spite of fear. So you can really use it. It's a lot of self-knowledge. So analyzing yourself, accept that there's fear. When are you afraid? What can you do to get over it? And all this. And isn't fear just, like an old grumpy man, that bitches at you, but you can do it. You have to say, okay, grandpa, thanks for your advice, and now sit down and relax.
It's interesting because you can combine this with what we were just talking about with your tribe, because both of those things are conspiring to keep you exactly where you are. And I know you mentioned that in your book. And one of the other things which I loved so much, I just love this, get rid of the word try. That is a fear-based word. Can you speak to that?
It implies failure. And it's not of me. I read that in a book of Talaine Miadaner, Coach Yourself to Success, I think it is called, the book. And this book changed my life. And one of the chapters was that chapter, Stop Trying. Yoda, do not try, do or not do. There is no try, right? It's like fantastic, really. And it's like, if I say, I try to pick up a pen, I try, but if I pick it up, that's how I do it. So the trying thing, trying in the way of, because sometimes you have to try things to succeed, so try and fail, but don't say, I'll try, just do it. Like it's on my shirt here. That's why I like this company so much, which is just such a simple phrase that I also made a mantra of mine. Just do it. There's nothing smarter. And don't try to study. Don't try to write a book. No, you write a book or you don't write a book. There's no try.
It's like a pre-excuse.
Yeah.
You're planning to fail. You're planning to give yourself an escape route. And when you have an escape route,
and it's like, you can say, I'll do my best to do it, but the best thing is really to say, I'll just do it. And if not, don't even waste your time on trying, on excuses. And it's very funny when I talk to people, mostly it happens when I talk about time management, because time management is one of these things that many people have problems, and only the really committed ones start controlling it. And when I'm in interviews or something and they start, I'll try. And I hear, so they're telling me everything why they can't be successful in time management. And it's like, and they're telling me something, but it doesn't even end up, because here it's just excuse.
Yep. Let's talk more about the time.
Yeah, and we have to get rid of our excuses, because there's always a great excuse for everything, the thing is, I also have my excuses, but you have at least to accept it. Then it becomes something different. When you're doing excuses and you're not aware of it, and you really believe them, that's something else. But I know my excuses. For example, my excuse for not going running is my knees and my ankles hurt after I go running. That's why I go walking. I go power walking. But once I had a client, a very talented yoga teacher, and she said, Marc, I can take away the pain in your knees and in your ankles. I did it before. I said, no, don't do it, because then I won't have an excuse anymore to not go running. And But it's at least I admit it, you know. So we always have excuses. It also depends how do we handle our excuses. Now, time management is the most difficult subject for me. I did company training on that and I stopped doing it because I said, no, look, nobody is happy. Because there are some tools for your time management and they work. They work for thousands of people. But if you are already skeptical, say, no, this won't work for me and that won't work for me, then we're wasting our time because you will always have an excuse not to find it. And when I did it in companies, it was always like the worker said, oh, I would do it, but the boss, he doesn't allow it. And the boss said, no, I'm everything. Look, I even pay you to come to my company, but they don't want to do it. So there was always there was one party who wasn't happy. And I said, look, that doesn't make sense for me. I'm coming here to unite, not to make the problems worse. And then the thing is, it's the task of everyone. So for example, there are simple things like turn off your mobile, like we two did. No, we both said we're turning off all the beeps, all the notifications now so that we can have 30 minutes or 45 minutes of interview. It works. People who do it get super focused. I mean, imagine at 8 a.m, so you get to work and you turn on your phone at 10. You will be so productive from 8 to 10. You will be every day. And if you do that every day, you will work a lot more than you ever worked before with the normal distractions around. And it's known, but then there are some people, no, I can't do it. No, I can't do it because I have to answer every phone call. I might lose my clients. Well, then, yeah, okay. And it doesn't work for you. Then we have another. There are more tools about it, but so at the end, it depends on one, do I accept it? And it's usually the very desperate people that are so desperate that they know if they don't do something about their time management, then they get a breakdown or a heart attack, and then suddenly they are open again. And those people then they make the biggest progress and they change their life completely.
Yeah.
So,
when the
and time
changing.
Yes, and time is the only thing we don't get back.
Yes.
And it
100%.
I saw a very interesting documentary about our friend Bill Gates, which was his secretary said he's very greedy with his time because it's the only resource and the only asset he can't buy. And I said,
that.
Yeah. See, one of the richest guys in the world, that's very smart. And when Bill Gates does it, then that's something I agree with him. Then we should also work on our time management. Yeah.
I was talking with Thomas Corley last week, and he wrote Rich Habits, Poor Habits, and he studied a whole boatload of people who were rich and poor. And one of the things, without exception,
Absolutely.
getting up early so you had time specifically for you and your health.
Yes.
Which was obvious but mind-blowing.
Yeah, exactly. When you get into the subject and when you study rich people, successful people, they have a lot of things in common. And one of the things is getting up early in the morning. They are very, they say very often no and very few times yes.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
You talk about the art of saying no in your book. Can we talk about that one? Because that plays into being liked and messing with your tribe. Can you talk to all of those?
No. Yes, of course we can. Yeah, we can talk about it. Yeah, we can talk about it. No, I mean, for me, you've read the book, you know it. For me, the art of saying no has made a huge change in my life. In every environment, I was in my work environment and my private environment, because you just create so much space and time, and in the beginning it's also difficult to say no to some commitments or to say no to your colleagues, because they always want your help. And I learned to say no, because when I came to Spain, I wanted to be the nice guy and said yes to everything, and at the end I was totally like flooded and all. And my colleagues were doing very well because I was doing all the bad jobs, and it was not a good life. And then I started saying, no, I can't. Because then there was also, so when you said yes, or when you did a favor for somebody, suddenly the job became yours. And you're like,
oh,
but I was just helping. I was just helping her. Oh, no, your job is. And then I got very strict, said no mostly. Sometimes you explain, sometimes you don't explain. No, I'm sorry, I'm very busy. Or you negotiate and look, right now I can't. I'm maybe on Friday afternoon I can help you a little bit. And then I even said, look, I can help you, but I don't want this to get my job. And like this, and in private life it was the same. So I remember when I was younger and my friends said, let's go out. And then I went out, but I didn't really enjoy myself because I didn't want to go out, because I actually wanted to say no, but then said yes. And it also takes away a lot of energy and something. So I started also in my private life to just say, no, not going out today, forgive me or something. And that also is one, again, you lose a couple of people on the way probably, but your true friends, and that is, when we're talking about this, about creating our environment, saying no, who should we hang out with, there's a very nice thing that I've learned, and really, so you don't need to be afraid. Your real friends will always be there. That's the amazing thing. And it's again a filter, and when I talk to my mom, and she said, and who sticks with you? Even in the bad times when I think so, I said, it's always the same guys, mother. It's the 3-4 guys from high school, a couple of people from university, and 1 or 2 more that I learned on the way. So very small circle, but it's enough. And I know that every one of them I can call at 3 a.m. in the morning. If I have a problem, they can call me, and that's it. I don't need 100 superficial friends. I need 3, 4, 5 go-to people. That's it.
Okay.
And it will always be these people, your friends. It's the same, that were always there for you. Those are the ones who accept you unconditionally. They can still. So my friends, it's very good. Sometimes I need my friends to keep me grounded.
Yeah.
I need people that know me since ages, that when they see, now he's selling a couple of books, now he's going crazy, to say, hey, Mark, chill. So, and those are the best people.
Okay.
And I'm really blessed, yeah.
So for the listeners who are saying, okay, well, here's a guy, and yeah, fine, he's one of the lucky ones. He's one of the ones who managed to find the tribe. He's one of the ones who managed to do the shift, and they're lacking the confidence, really. What would be the 2 or 3 things you would say to them to help get them unstuck?
No, I would say I was where you are 5 years ago or 6 years ago. I'm not special, but I'm the guy. I'm also not luckier than anybody else, but I worked. I just took everything I'm preaching about. I did it. I think also, I told you before, I think that is also the success of my books. I think if I wasn't authentic, if I wouldn't do the exercises of my books, I wouldn't sell so many, I wouldn't be credible. And it's even if people don't know me, I think it's an energy thing, when you are not authentic, when you don't have integrity, things just don't work out. So with the flow, so I'm doing it, and I noticed this the first time, and since then I'm doing it. I didn't write a book yet, but I learned this exercise, this gratitude exercise, to write down 3 things that you're grateful for. And I was very proud going to my mentor coach. I told him, look, wow, this exercise is really cool. I'm saying it to all my clients, but they don't do it. And he just looked at me and said, Mark, are you writing down 3 things that you're grateful for every day? And I was like, oh, I didn't. From that day on, I did. And it's like magic, then the others do it too, because at the end you are an example. You teach by example. So I didn't really answer your question, but so the people who are now in this situation, they just shall believe, do the exercises. You don't have to buy my book. You can buy other books. Study people who are there where you want to go. And then start doing what they are doing. And you don't need to do the big changes right away. You do small changes, and small changes will go. So you don't have to send everybody to hell right away, of your friends or whatever, or leave your job. You can start on the side. I mean, I would never, for me, when I look back, it was like I would never. I have many people coming to me, Mark, I'm so unhappy in my job. I said, start on the side. Find another purpose in your job. Start it on the side. Don't jump. Sometimes it works, but it's a lot more pressure. It's a lot more pressure because when the money has to come in, and it's not as nice and it's not as easy as many online courses tell you, at least in my experience, it was a hard fight. It took me 4 to 5 years to get there where I'm now. And I blew away all my savings. I burned my savings away. And then finally it started working. But I think I burned $30,000 of savings while I was thinking that I was making money. I wasn't. I was losing money. But go step by step. You can start on the side with something and then just build on it,
Mm-hmm. And there was one other thing which just popped in when you were talking about building, and it was, and I know we're running short on time, but I'd love if we could just quickly touch on it, the uncluttering, because it's more than just your house.
Yeah, it's incredible. Oof. Magic again. When I started uncluttering, it starts small again. Look, it starts with a cupboard. It starts with throwing away some old t-shirt that you didn't have worn for 5 years. And then you go through your house and everything. And then I do the Marie Kondo method. So it's just fantastic. And I really believe, and she says it also, and I noticed it. While you're doing this, and when you're throwing all this clutter away, you're getting so good in making decisions. Because you start with the t-shirts, that's easy, but later on you go to photos or gifts or so that somebody gifted you 10 years ago. Do you really need to keep it? And then the next step is, and then you start with your environment. And I noticed it when I had business relationships. And I had 3 business relationships that brought me always trouble. So, or the payment was late, or every call was with bad news, and so on. And then I took the decision, and the fun thing is I was not in a situation to take this decision logically, rationally, because those people were 25% of my yearly income, but they were 80% of my yearly sorrows and worries, the good old 80-20 rule. And I decided I stopped working with them. And I said, okay. I said to myself, Mark, that was a ballsy move. Probably you will make 25% less this year. At the end of the year, I made 10% more.
Wow.
And I had a lot more time, and I'm talking with friends because they are in the same situation. I had so much more time to use finding opportunities that I didn't have to spend on running behind bad payers or problems. So it was fantastic. And it's the 80-20. And I'm talking a lot about it with my girlfriend because she's now at that stage. And she always said, yeah, Mark, but for you, it's easy to say no to business opportunities. So for example, I only accept payments for advance payments. So if some company can't pay in advance, too bad, nice to meet you. Look for somebody who accepts your payment deals. It won't be me. So it's great. All the worries are so far away, right? And then my girlfriend always says, yeah. And I always remind her that, Natalia, remember, it's like, what was there first, the chicken or the egg? I said, remember, you were there when I started doing this policy. I had nothing. So it's not that now that I have enough money, I can say no to opportunities. I said no to bad opportunities when I didn't have a lot, and thanks to that I have a lot now. So that's really like the interesting thing, and that's most of the people think it goes the other way around, and it's not. And it's the same with time management. It's you find this everywhere. People say, I will work on my time management when I have time. It's like saying, oh, I'm thirsty, I'm gonna drink when I'm not thirsty anymore. It doesn't make sense, you know. You have to drink now so that you are not thirsty anymore. And with this uncluttering of bad business relationships, it was the same. And I can tell you, you can look back in July in 2018, my success started with the books. And at the end of 2017, I got rid of those people. So it was 6 months because I had a lot of time and a lot less worries. So this uncluttering, I mean, you can see here, look, my apartment, not very clean, but there's nothing. There's nothing I could.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I have here in Malta. It's great because they give you the furniture. They rent out the furniture apartment. And I can tell you, I have two duffel bags, 2 big bags, and I'm out. I have not. So I came to Malta. I mean, before I lived on a boat. So when I moved from my house to a boat, I already had to get rid of half of my stuff. And I did it also to force myself to get rid of my stuff. And then when I moved to the boat in my house, I found 7 boxes that I had packed. And the last move before in 2013. And they were for 4 years without touching. So I said, okay, those I could just throw right away. Because I obviously didn't miss them. And then I went to the boat. Then from the boat, I moved to Malta. And if you move countries, you move by plane. So I remember I was on the Frankfurt airport with less luggage than people who go 2 weeks on vacation, and I felt great about it. You know, I had one small and one big luggage, and said, "Yeah, here comes my new life with all the important stuff. It fits in 1.5 suitcases. Well, I have still 1 suitcase in Barcelona, but it was amazing. And for me, because everybody is different, for me, this is the best lifestyle. I came to Barcelona in 2003 with 1 bag, and then I accumulated a lot of stuff, and then I threw it all away again, and then I left with 1.5 bags. And I have here, if something would happen here, in one day I have everything packed in 2 bags, and I'm off, and it's great.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you and my husband would do. You would have a great time together. He loves the airport wars, as he calls them. How little can he travel with? And I'm like, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Life
gets a lot lighter. Life gets a lot lighter.
Yep.
And
yep. Declutter your time. Declutter your house. Declutter everything. Give yourself. Marc, I am going to have you back because I feel like we are just getting started, and there's so much more that I want to dig into. But before we do sign off, for anyone out there that is, I mean, look at this amazing human being. Obviously, you want to connect with him. Who wouldn't? That energy, that authenticity, and obviously the knowledge. Highly recommend his book, 30 Days, Habits That Will Change Your Life. I read it. It's great. It's, as I said before, it's all of these wonderful tips, just one after another, after another, after another. Your narrator actually is another author that I am bound and determined to get on this show, Derek Depker.
Yeah,
will
Derek.
Be here, folks. Mark my words, I will have him on this show as well. And also, so for people who want to reach Marc, we are throwing his link down below. You'll be able to see it down there. Click on it. He has 2 different websites. Can you tell us about some of your work, your websites? I know you have a course.
Yeah, well, my websites, they are a little bit outdated because it's like 2 years ago, I just concentrated on Amazon ads and on selling many books. But my one is my business website, Good Habits Academy, where I talk a little bit about what I do in business training. And then my other website is just marcreclau.com, where I talk a little bit about my books, but don't use my websites. They are not like, how do I say? Don't use them as a reference. Make it better if you make a web page, but you will find stuff. The best thing ever. What you can do is, I mean, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, and I'm so old school. I'm actually still a lot into emails, and I'm answering all my emails, as you know. And yeah, and then that's the best way to get in touch with me. I'm not even on Facebook anymore. It like was too much time draining, and I got off in February, and I haven't been. Now I'm bored because I have too much time on my hands, and happier than ever. So yeah, I will update my web pages, but my books you will find on Amazon, on my Amazon page. So those are the things.
Okay, so anyone who wants this, so we'll drop that link down. We're only going to be dropping links that Marc approves of. So if it isn't there and we just talked about it, you can blame me and feel free to comment.
I approve all. They can also go on my webpage, not a problem. They will learn maybe something, but as you know, as I shifted from company training to just publishing like a crazy, so everything else, I didn't care anymore because because I'm selling tons of books and it's awesome.
And your books range. I mean, you have the productivity book. You have a book on being magnetic personality. You have a lot.
Love Yourself First. I recommend my book Love Yourself First because it's the one that now really crushes it. It's my most successful book now. It even outsold 30 days now, and it's about self-love, which is the basis of a lot of things. So, you know, it's the fun thing is when I write, you get also from one book to another. I never know which will be my next book. But then, thanks to my Japanese translator, we came up with a self-esteem book. And it's really, when your self-esteem is intact, everything else works better.
Yep, for sure. Oh, well, it has been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, Marc. And I do hope you will consider joining us again.
Of course.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.